If you're creative and you've got a project that's either been on the back burner for too long or a project that the deadline is coming up faster than you imagined, this is how we get it drafted in 6 weeks and done and out the door in 12. Some projects will take longer or shorter, but I find most projects you can get a first draft in 6 and then a solid section released in 12 weeks. So, what does that look like? If that's your project, your dream project, what are the obstacles getting in the way of that? So, I find there are 3 big obstacles that creatives come up against. The first one I find is this thinking one needs more clarity. I just need to know what to do, where to go. I've got this analysis paralysis, too many options. I just need to get a clear plan and put that in place. I'm all about planning, but I find that instead of clarity, momentum is what's needed. Sometimes you don't know what you want until you go after it. So getting some momentum, some quick wins, and getting in action and getting in motion and then pivoting, adjusting from there, I find brings the clarity rather than waiting for it. And then you're always on your heels and you're procrastinating. I'll come back and talk about what that looks like concretely. But let me go around because there are 2 other big problems I find. Once someone gets in action and some momentum, they think they might need some type of motivation to stay consistently productive. I just need some more motivation. I've got all this resistance. I need to figure out how to do everything, but I'm feeling overwhelmed. Fill in the blanks. But instead of motivation, I find people need to activate their team. And that's what I call association. If your vision is big and bold, it's not really meant to stay just with you, even if you're a solo artist. You have to engage and recruit a full team of people. So if the last one, that's the team. If the last one is about your target, where you're going, the second pillar of getting that project shared with the world is activating your team. And before we fill that in, let me go to the third side, this third obstacle. So if you've got your target locked in, you've got your team activated, I find the third problem really persistent. People will say, I just need more time. I need to be better about time management, about productivity, looking for all these apps or hacks. And they're thinking in terms of time. I just need more time. I often find for people who are busy and engaged and have a lot of responsibility, the time does not come. So learning to protect the time you have is crucial. But I find the real difference comes when you start to manage your energy. So you don't need more time, you need more energy to capitalize on the time you have and to be really focused. So when you drop in and you create and you're consistently making, you've got that energy, you've got that focus to go deep and sustain that week after week after week. So you've got these 3 opportunities for some momentum on your target, activating your team, that's your associations, and then getting not just more time, but more energy. So what does that look like practically? So on a game plan call with people, we really focus on this first this first area, the target. And it's as simple as figuring out where you're at, where you want to go, and how to get moving. So I have fun names for that. So the first one is we drop a pin, just like you might on a map. We try to get just the bead on your current location. What's your situation? So we have some intake questions. We talk and do a deep dive and try to get a lay of the land of where you're currently at. Just getting some clarity on where you're at. So clarity is important, but it's not the most important thing. Once we get enough clarity to determine where you're at, then we set a 90-day target. I find 12 weeks or 90 days is a good horizon. It's close enough to keep you in motion and feel urgent, but far enough to let some things percolate and grow. Once we set where you're at, where you want to go, and we make sure that compass, in a sense, is calibrated in a way that's really compelling and interesting and deeply engaging to you, then the third thing is something I picked up from Stephen Pressfield called cover the canvas. And that is where you give yourself permission to make a crummy first draft. You just get it out there, put it out, have this rough first draft, and that will instantly tell you where you need to go, gets you over the hump of feeling you need to have it all figured out. And we just get that momentum. Cover the canvas, get a first draft, we'll refine it over the next season. So that's really what we try to cover in the first time we meet when I meet one-on-one with people. We also touch on some key aspects of team and of what I call tempo. So this third area is tempo and that pacing. But we'll get there. Going to activating your team, I find you need three things there. You need to be first on board yourself. Second, you need to have your inner circle supporting you. And third, you need to have some epic partnerships. So again, I like labeling these in a fun way. The first one I call parking brake. I find even if you set a compelling target, something you say you're really excited about as a creative project, there's often a part of you that might be unconsciously resisting or, in a sense, having that parking brake on. So rather than trying to get more motivation, we figure out how you can be your own best teammate and make sure all parts of you under the hood are on board. Because sometimes you might have, in a way you're not aware of, the parking brake on and you're trying to drive forward and push forward, but there's a part of you that's not fully on board. So we slow down. I have this fun but deep exercise where we journal, and it's self-guided about how to let go, take that parking brake off. So you're not your own worst enemy, but you're your own best teammate in a sense. Once we do that, I find there are 4 seats on what I call your A team that you need to have around you. And those are people you're in touch with pretty frequently that are supporting you, encouraging you, guiding you. And once we have those 4 seats filled, you can really take off. We'll at least identify one of those, the key one to fill, that'll have the biggest ripple impact on your drive. Finally, once we get that inner team activated, we can have what I call epic partnerships. And again, I find there are 4 buckets of partners we can activate. It could be collaborators, it could be patrons. We pick one of those buckets, focus in on that, and figure out who can help you go towards your project and towards your goal. Because again, it's not a question of how, it's a question of who. Finally, I usually pace one over each week. So those are the first 3 weeks in team. And then over weeks 4, 5, and 6, working with people on our tempo. Again, there are 3 parts of not just getting more time, but getting more energy. I find the first thing is before adding anything else, we need to preserve some margin. I call this sacred margin. So we actually eliminate and strip away. That could be delegating, it could be saying no to certain things, but it's protecting and safeguarding not just some time to focus and to do some deep work on your art, but also creating some space to let things incubate, to let things marinate. Maybe it's taking a walk, maybe it's one day off where you're unplugged from screens. Whatever that is for you, actually eliminating creates that space and that headspace for more creativity to come through. And then that creative energy can start to be channeled. I find there are, secondly, some core 4 areas. One thing I've learned from some of my mentors, your body, your physical health, your being, your spiritual life, your inner life, your bonds, those key personal relationships, and any business pursuits, the things around your art to make it happen and sustainable. We need to make sure all of those are being handled on a weekly and even a daily basis. So we pick one of those, we focus on those as a habit, a keystone habit to continually reset and refresh you. And last but not least, again, on week 6, this is week 4 or 5, week 6, we do a retrospective. So again, when we work together for 12 weeks, at week 6, that's a midweek point, we do a reflection. We look at what's working, what's not working. We start to install this habit of pivoting, because as you're in motion, the faster you're going and the more energy you've got to make sure you're continually course correcting and calibrating and making sure, because your target might have shifted or your team might change, or maybe some season came up and your tempo has to adjust either faster or slower. So at week 6, we do the retro. So these 9 sections, or really 3 phases, are what we focus on. So that's how I get someone to release their boldest work and to put it out there in the world. If you want details about how to do this with me, in your corner, I've got a link to a document with all the details in the description below this video. Either way, this is the model, this is the path, and I'm excited to see what you'll do with it.